can we see the end of that hose? I want to see how clean that is.
And you might have to do a little bit of cleanup on it too.
Okay.
So especially like with this, see where it's got the angle to it?
Yeah.
Right there, we just want to make sure that that's kind of a little bit more cleaned up.
So are you coming in from the
I'm just
front
gonna
or
I'm gonna
the
take
edge
that
too?
edge right off of there so that the hose itself, see how there's the lip? I just want to make sure that's all cleaned up.
Okay.
So. As long as it's mostly flat right there. We just want to make sure that there's no big areas where it's going to hang off and hold the fitting up, like this little lip right here.
Okay.
So just kind of clean all that up. Anything that's going to keep the fitting from actually sitting in there correctly. So.
Okay. So twisting the hose around and kind of
just
putting an angle on the rubber.
Exactly.
That's okay?
Just to kind of clean it up a little bit, just so we get rid of any of those big dimples that are hanging off of there.
Got it.
Like that. That's actually pretty good. Clear the hose. So go take an air gun to this and blow the hose line clear. So that way there's no rubber or any kind of metal shavings in there. Because the metal and rubber will contaminate the hydraulic oil and can jam up the gears. So
great. Okay. Is that all you need?
Yeah, that's it. Just blow it through and just make sure there's no rubber or any kind of metal in there. You know, just because anything like that, as you guys know, will foul out the hydraulic system. So especially as it's moving through the pump. So
use that or get stuck in a valve.
Exactly.
I don't know if I need to go back there.
The best way to do this is you got to take that fitting and jam it all the way on there, and you'll actually feel that little metal on metal grind, and that's the metal wires that's actually abrading in the top of the cup. And so we want to make sure that you feel that.
So, okay.
Go ahead, Mike.
So on the larger ones, you're going to have trouble with getting it down that far sometimes.
Right.
So the easiest thing to do is to go like this. You measure it with your finger. You put it on there. Push it on. If it gets to your finger, you know it's all the way on.
I was going to say mark the hose too. Is another good way to do that. So, and that's it. Yeah, take this and you'll actually want to mark the hose.
Okay.
So that way you'll know where that cup is actually supposed to go all the way down. Okay, so once that's on there and it's marked where it's going to go, I'm going to grab the collet out of here. These are 2-piece collets.
Okay.
And they're going to sit right inside this adapter bowl here. Take a little bit of the PTFE lube.
You do this each and every time?
Each and every time. This helps keep this from all sticking. This bowl actually comes up out of here. And you don't need to do this every single time. This will be like once a week maintenance. Or on our visits, we'll maintain this as well.
Okay, so this part only needs to be done like once a week.
Once a week. But yeah, this is just, yeah. Yeah, but this, you only really just need a little bit on your finger because being that it's 2-piece and it's silicone, it's not going to bind up in there.
Okay.
So we just want to make sure everything sits in there right. Okay. Take our spacer ring, put that up under there like that.
Okay.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is take our fitting and put it up in there. So this is why you don't need to be like the Parker situation where you got to hold it with 2 hands and make sure it's in there correctly. There's actually a little lip that's right inside there that's actually going to sit on. And I'll show you what it looks like. So you guys can see that lip? How it sits in there?
Yeah.
Oh, right here?
Yep.
Is that what we're talking
That's
about?
the fitting. The fitting will rest right on that little lip.
Okay.
The new Z series.
So, and you'll feel it. If it's not in there correctly, it'll be off kilter and it'll be wonky around. So.
And you place that in coming from the bottom?
Yeah,
Right?
always. Yeah, because I mean, this is not a realistic hydraulic hose. Most of your hoses are going to be 3 feet at the minimum, 5, 6, 8 feet at the. You don't want to be running that all the way down through there like that.
Okay.
The easiest way is just to make sure you go up, push up through the bottom, and it'll sit right there on that. Take our spacer ring, pull this all the way forward, and this will just stay right there.
I'm gonna swap places with you.
Okay, and this is the activation here, and this is the release. So if anything's going wrong, if you'll notice this is in there wrong or it's sitting all goofy, hit that release right away so that it'll pop up.
What's the activation? I'm sorry.
Activation,
that one? Okay.
and this is release.
Got it.
And you can see I'm just barely holding the hose just so it stays in place. You'll know when it, just like any air thing, you'll know when it's there.
So when you get that like bottoming out.
Exactly. And that'll just pop up out of the bottom. And that's what our fitting should look like. But we're not done yet.
Okay.
We need to make sure this is actually crimped within specifications.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, yeah. And this is actually your guys' right here, your digital calipers. And I brought crimp charts, and we'll get you guys one that's laminated too. So when it's the red collet, a -4, this is the number that we're going to be looking for. The nominal crimp.
Okay.
Plus or minus 0.010. So the best way to get at these fittings is to come up from below them. Like this, and you want to make sure you're not on the rib. You got to get right in.
Considered on the flats.
Yeah, you want to get on those flats in there. And 0.64.
Okay.
What was our number? 0.654.
Yeah.
So there we go. We're within that. It's on it. So, and you can over crimp even though it's bottoming out. If you just sit there and hold it down, it will actually over crimp the fitting, and that can break that stem that's inside there or cause the lines to weep or leak. So, all right.
Okay, one of these.
Yes, sir.
Slide it on there.
Yep. Well, you want to make sure, just like how we checked it, I do have a pen here too, if you want to use that to mark the hose. So what you want to do is just pop that off there and take the hose over the cup, and you'll see where it bottoms out. That little line that's right here on the cup,
Yeah, that's right on there.
that's kind of the indicator. So you
Right
can
on
use
there,
your
yeah.
thumb and hold your thumb in place, and if it comes down to where your thumb is, that's all the way on.
Yeah.
So the most layman way is you feel that metal on metal grinding. That we're all familiar with that. We can
Right,
put that
in
on there.
there.
No, it's in there. Don't worry about that right now.
Now, and this piece that can stay on here if you're more.
Yeah, you can leave that on there the whole time. It doesn't need to
Okay.
come off. If you're just making hose after hose,
Okay.
And you can push this out of the way here. And does that have a right side up? That ring, that
No.
metal ring?
no.
Okay.
It's just
See if it's inspect.
Now you said that larger lever is like an emergency stop. So
right. Well,
what would
it's emergency release. So
Oh,
I mean, it's
okay.
just a big red button. So if for some reason that's trapped in there, your finger, your clothes, whatever's
Okay,
trapped in
I
there,
see.
you don't have to sit there and think about big red release. That's it.
And you're saying that
0.65.
0.065, and you're saying that
Yeah.
the
So -4. So any of your
collars that we have
quarter
are-
inch or -4.
okay, and those are
So-
always
and it'll
going to
be
be
your red collet.
Red.
Oh man, I
0.654.
right on exactly. 6525.
Look at you.
Fantastic.
No, 6565. Yeah.
Like
That's
you've
it.
been doing this your whole life.
Yeah.
Okay, and which other colors do we have?
You guys have the red and the yellow and blue.
The
So
red,
you
red,
have
and blue.
4, 6, and 8.
Got it. Okay.
So the only reason I use my thumb most of the time is because it's faster. It's just, the only ones I mark is like when you get into a 16.
Right, because it's
You
so
gotta
hard.
beat it on the floor to get it all the way.
Up against the table.
Yeah,
Is that inch fitting or bigger?
Yeah.
1 inch.
Yeah, 1 inch or bigger.
So if you're under pressure, like maybe you didn't hold it long enough, maybe it's not crimped enough. Can you redo it, or do you need to scrap
You
the
have
hose?
to- yeah, if it's not crimped enough and you're at you know, a couple, you know, quarter inch off, or excuse me, 0.04 off, you need to pull that out, cut it off, and start over again.
Okay.
I mean, there's just, because there's no way to make sure that those grooves are going to line up exactly where they need to be.
Okay.
So you just start a hose off of an equipment, it'll have that bend to it. So we need to make sure that when we come over here, and especially with those longer hoses, lay it out on the floor and take our hose out and make sure that it kind of follows that same path. And especially when we're dealing with those angled fittings that are the elbows and the 90s, because if it's 90'd and it's over here and it's meant to be over here, now you're going to be fighting that and it's not going to sit on the machine correctly. So when you pull a hose out,
You got it.
grab the fitting. So case in point, I mean, see how the elbow follows that curve right there? If it's on there like that, now you're fighting that
Oh, I
curve
see what you're saying.
to get it to do the same thing.
Go
Because the
with the
hose
curve.
only flexes one direction.
Okay.
So
And then I'm assuming, like, if this is the hose we're replicating right here, I'm assuming when you cut this, we want to take a measurement from
yes,
end to end.
absolutely, from end to end right there. I want to make sure you guys are comfortable with this. So I got a whole
The
roll
guy
of hose
that
over
said
here.
that
And a
it
whole other
couldn't be
bag of
done
fittings.
with the tire.
We're gonna need some to train the people that aren't.
Yeah.
be done.
I can. We'll cut a few extra pieces and stuff. So. And I'll leave a bag of how many more people do we have?
We got Matt, Priscilla, who else is on here? Fernando.
Does mine look different?
Yeah, looks right. You made a custom one. You go over it pretty
Now, how often do you need to reapply?
under crimp.
What'd you do?
Something, it wasn't
Think
laid
it's
in there.
'cause-
Right.
because-
What's wrong with it? Let me take a look.
So that is a failed crimp.
That's not good.
This needs to be cut off and thrown away right here.
And it's just because of the end?
How this is all jammed up right here, that's a nice clean crimp right there.
Gotcha.
And that's a bad one.
So once again, Chris,
So let me see.
we'll do the other side, Chris.
The other side, get one right.
And believe it or not, the new Z series, this is one of the things that it eliminates. With the previous U series, this had a skirt. or
How often do you
flare
have to
on-
reapply that
And
grease?
by
one? In
eliminating
here?
that and getting
Yeah.
that nice clean.
Yeah,
flare,
no, in this
it
piece.
feeds
Part right here,
easier
not very
through,
often. I mean, just a small little amount because these are two
holes and
pieces
things it's gotta
and they're
travel
silicone.
through.
Okay.
With
So they're
that
not gonna
skirt
bind up.
on it, like
This
the previous fitting,
can and will
you
bind
can
up
talk
in there.
about fighting it.
So if it does bind up,
Yeah,
the best
and
way
this
to
is
get
not
that out
very
of there,
dramatic, but, yeah.
take that and take a hammer and pop it loose. So you can smack that bowl right there.
Okay.
Because there's just a big hydraulic press that we're working with. So sometimes that you just gotta knock
I
that
say we
bowl.
try it again.
Yeah, Chris, you gotta
Chris?
remake that hose, bud.
Yeah, I didn't feel like he held it there too long.
No. So you get to do it with the whole setup, dude. So drop those in there.
Machine's broken, I think.
Yeah. It's under warranty, so.
Yeah,
And then
Just
your
like
ring
that?
goes on the top of that.
when all else fails, blame it on Lawson.
Yep. And then make sure, because yeah, and so what might have happened is it got in there like a little crooked like that. So you just want to make sure it's kind of sitting there and hold. You can hold the hose just in place because see how it dropped. That it got a little wonky there. So you want to hold that in place until it bites down.
What are you wanting to hold it to do? To keep the top end
Just so that
like, straight
the
up and
fitting
down?
is kind of sitting on the ledge.
Messed up again.
If anything, yeah, we'll learn, you know, who's not making hoses and who is. Now this is really the easiest setup that I've ever seen.
656?
Hydraulics.
Yeah,
I crimp on a Parker system. It's nice, but it
Very
makes a
nice.
similar crimp.